I'd like you to join me in thought and consider the teacher. Once again, the teacher has another student that just came up to him, just took my exam. I'm not doing well. I don't know what's wrong here. I don't know what happened. This part I really understand, but this part I really don't get. And the teacher's looking at him, and after hearing the story for about 5 minutes, 6 minutes, he's just waiting for the opportunity to ask him to come on back to my office for about 15 minutes, and we'll talk. The student says, of course, no, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to go. I have my studies to do. I have to go to work. I have all these other things that I need to accomplish. And the teacher looks at him and says, well, in their mind, they say, there goes another one. Because the teacher, all he's looking for is a willing vessel, a willing student who doesn't give in to that ego. And you know what I mean by ego. It's that anesthesia that deadens you to the pain of your stupidity. He's looking for that student who's willing to sit there and say, right now I don't know the way. And the teacher's going to tell him you need some truth in your situation because you're not dealing with the truth of your situation. Because the teacher knows what? That's going to lead to a better life. Now, every once in a while, I walk into the wrong room. So I need to first make sure that I'm in the right room. Just by a show of nods, has anyone ever stood outside of a door and you could feel the animosity seeping through the crack? I mean, it's that door that leads to whether it be the family room, car, living room, bedroom, that everything goes down in because they're there. Okay. By the nods and the laughs, I guess I'm in the right room. Good. Then we have something to say. Now I want you to get the correct image of me. I certainly have been a person who's created that room. Like it says up there, I've been in the Marine Corps. And at one point in time, against all advice and all wisdom of my friends, I did something so ridiculous. I went into the Marine Corps with a girlfriend who liked me so much that she wanted to choose different things for me. And like many young men's dream, there's a sister. As you're cooking up this recipe for disaster in your mind, it was exactly what you think it tastes like. These people came out to California to see me. And as a group, sister, friends, everyone was there to enjoy themselves. Everything came out. It was exactly what you're thinking it was. An explosion of emotion, of turmoil, of individuals in there ready to do things that they never even thought of before. Bitterness out the seams. So much so that one of the friends told me, since I was up and coming to my first deployment, I hope you die in Afghanistan for what you did. Some time after that, I went on my deployment. I came back, and I reached out. I said, I've known y'all since middle school. I'm so sorry for everything that transpired. I'm so sorry for what happened and the anguish and hurt and the ripping apart inside of you that I caused. You know what they said? Stop talking to us. You're dead to us. Don't ever reach out and talk to us ever again. It was like one of those apocalyptic bridges, right? They're built halfway, had the vines and everything hanging off of it. Reached out, but with nothing to grab hold to. I was confused. I knew that I apologized. I didn't expect a yes or sure, we should come on back and talk again to each other. But I knew something wasn't right about the whole situation. Like I told you, I was in the Marine Corps. While I was in the Marine Corps, I had the opportunity of serving with some of the greatest men I will ever meet. Some of the most daring men that I will ever meet. I had the honor of serving with some men who did the impossible. They would hop on a plane, 20,000 feet, stand at the door, and nothing but a team, a plan, and each other with their equipment, and jump out into the unknown. See, tonight, that's what I want to talk to you about, is jumping out into the unknown. The first time I jumped out into the unknown was in Camp Del Mar, San Diego. I was in my barracks room, and I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, what is it that you're about to do? What are you doing? What are you doing? But I knew I had to do it. I got up. I walked out my barracks room. I walked down the catwalk, walked to the parking lot. And it was just full of trucks and Mustangs, because that's what Marines drive. We drive trucks and Mustangs and anything that's about to break down. As I approached my Mustang, it ceased to be a Mustang. It started to transform. This black locomotive started to turn into a Back to the Future vehicle. And I was about to have my own little episode. I reached out for the door, and then it said again, what are you doing? You don't have to do this. I said, yes, I do. So I opened the door, I got in. I sat in, I closed the door. I'm looking around, and you know how it gets when a really intense situation happens? Time just stops. The windows start fogging up. My heart's beating out of my chest. I realize that I'm gripping the steering wheel so hard that I'm piercing my fingers through the leather. Once and last time it said, what are you doing? You don't have to do this. It was New Year's Eve. And I said yes, because I'm not taking this into next year. So I opened my phone. The light illuminated the entire vehicle. I scrolled to his name, and I hit send. And you know how it goes when you call somebody who you kind of don't want to talk to. You're kind of hoping that for the first couple rings, nothing happens, and then it's like, well, I'm thinking of all the different things while I'm about to hang up, you know. But he picked up. I said, hey, Steve. I said, hold on, Dad. Hold on. Because what I'm about to say to you, you can never ask me for. What I'm about to say to you, you could only hope that your son would establish the character to approach you about. So I said to him, for all the times that you weren't there, for all the times that you missed birthdays, football games, you missed me going to surgery, you live 15 minutes away from me. For all that, I just want to tell you that I love you. I want the best for you. And I want more than what we have now. I want to reach into the future, and I want to change the trajectory of this family. See, you left me like 50% of the people in this country who look like me, who grow up without fathers. No established character, no understanding of authority, no understanding of what it is to have a combative thought to say that that might be dumb. You might want to go this way. We get that from our parents. We get that from our father. And I just want to say, Lord, Dad, I want more. And what I heard on the other side of that phone was a metamorphosis. For 2 straight minutes, nothing but crying. He was there, and all he said over and over and over again, thank you, thank you, I love you, thank you. And I said, you know what, Dad? I love you too. And there's more to be had here. That was the last conversation that I was able to have with my father. On my next deployment, he passed away. I was able to tell my brother about what happened. And I'll tell you right now that what happens when you introduce forgiveness into a situation, it seeps throughout the entire room. I told my brother what happened. And at his casket, he placed his hands right next to his body and he said, I forgive you. I love you. And I want more. And I want different. I tell you that this started a pattern of forgiveness in me, but I'd be lying to you. My brother, who was late diagnosed in his life with bipolar disorder, me and him had a very, very tumultuous upcoming. I remember him gripping his hands around my neck while I was in the bed, me waking up to suffocating, or a frying pan across my face, or being chased out the house with a knife. One day when I was in Del Mar, again I received a phone call. And I saw it was him. And I did not answer. I left it. You know that feeling when it gets real tight right here? And you're looking at that name, you're like, I don't want to deal with that right now. I'm not going there right now. That was the one and only time in about 10-year span that he ever reached out to me. A year later, I go on another deployment, my third one, and I get a Red Cross message. Do you know a Robert Jones? You have to go home. He passed away as well. So that time I had an opportunity to be my brother at the casket. And that's where I was able to give my forgiveness and ask for forgiveness. See, what happens when you don't forgive is that it arrests you in your development. You stay bitter. You stay coarse. This is the definition of austere because you're not ready. You're still back here. You're still back here. And when you get upset about these things, it comes off as austerity because it's immature bitterness. Every single one of us has an opportunity. I'd like to give all of you an opportunity. I'm probably the only TEDx talker who's ever going to do this. So let us start. Take out your cell phones. Come on. Time is of the essence. I want you to open your phones. I want you to go to your contacts. And if your phone's anything like mine, the first contact is you. Because you know you better than anyone. And you know all those different things that you've done. You're standing at the door, 20,000 feet. You have an opportunity to jump, to go down and deal with something that hasn't been dealt with in too long. It seems crazy. It's an overcome of emotion. But you can do it. I had to forgive myself for what I did with those girls over a decade ago. Because if I didn't, I'd still be that person way back then. I wouldn't be able to progress forward in establishing relationships. I want you to look at that contact. I want you to consider, can you talk later? Do you have time in 30 minutes for maybe a 5-minute conversation? You may say, no, they don't deserve my forgiveness. No, they don't deserve me asking for their forgiveness. All I'd like you to do is consider one thing. Are you willing to let this go for an indefinite amount of time into the unknown of the future, holding you back? from everything that could be. Look at that name. We all want to change the world. But so often we don't want to take that huge problem that's right here and deal with it versus reach out and try to tinker with this tiny problem over here. I just invite you to consider. Just like that teacher, they'd tell you, step in the office. I can show you a way to deal with your problem, and we're only going to deal with the truth. And I promise you, it's going to give you a better life. TEDx, Wayne State, year of our Lord, 2019. Thank you.